Online gaming. It's supposed to be the next big chief Satya Nadella and Rice Industries chairman Mukesh Ambani commerce. But we do have several states that are against online gaming. As many as 5 states, several courts being decided. In the meanwhile, what we have now seen, the Kerala government, which had banned online gaming, quashed by the Kerala High Court. While the Kerala government is waiting, has publicly gone ahead and spoken about how at one time it voted against a single judge order, quashing the ban on online rummy games played for money. However, till that happens, various state departments, including the police, are conducting awareness programs in schools and colleges. Besides that, a social policing system, various schemes of student police cadres, them from being addicted to such games. Tamil Nadu, also a few days ago, had spoken about a similar move. I'm going to be talking about this and more with Vaibhav Kakkar, partner at Saraf and Partners. We get him often on the channel to talk about online gaming and the various legal challenges. Vaibhav, welcome back to Startup Central. The big concern is addiction to online gaming, linking it to gambling, and at some times you do feel, and I had described it as, with so many states, as many as 5, being against online gaming, the question I want to ask you is, stay away. Nevertheless, we're seeing deal making.
Thanks for your question. Look, I think no prizes for guessing. Each time these moves are made, and again creates a confusion in a way that mars the gaming industry from growing in the way that it sort of sees the context for the entire audience. I think the issue really is, Nayantara, that there is a Supreme Court well-defined jurisprudence on what is considered as games of skill and what is considered as games of chance. Looking at some of these issues regarding online gaming, and Mr. Chandrasekhar a couple of months back, and there is a widespread engagement and discussion that is already taking place at the central government level on how to determine what is a real money game of skill as opposed to games concerned, what should be the contours of voluntary regulation and self-regulation. Now, under the constitutional scheme, states do have the power to ban gambling and betting. However, they do not have the power to be protected under Article 19(1)(g). And there is 60-year jurisprudence of the Supreme Court, right from RMDC Chamar Bagwala to Lakshmanan, to recently in the context of Fantasy League, that is possible. And of course, if you talk to all the real stakeholders, bathwater, and bring in such kind of regime that effectually makes. But I think other than that, the problem is that states real money games of skill, including online games of chance. And the clubbing of real money games of skill is where is the problem in the respective high courts. The high court struck down those legislative actions, saying very clearly that this is violative of the constitutional scheme. Now, in all of those 3 matters, of course, the states have gone in appeal, changed the course of the fate of the matter. What has happened, which of course did not, was not sustained before the courts, because there is this whole jurisprudence on games of skill. So then states try games cause addiction, they create problems, and they create this whole havoc in the society, which in each of those cases, the High Court said that you have the whole issue of addiction of stock market, you have the issue of addiction of social media, for that matter, even television viewing. Are we now going to industry, and that too an industry which has a very strong and very rich jurisprudence backing it? Each large stakeholder would be all for regulation. So I think if the states, instead of focusing on ban, they focus on active regulation, be a better way to look at it.
No, that's very pertinent. To television, they could be addicted to music, to dancing. I take what could be the possible law and order risk where you have more than one state now trying to explore this option?
7 questions, Nayantara. I think, first of all, 2 states have already appealed in the Supreme Court, which is Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. I anticipate that eventually, so that these independent matters in different high courts all get clubbed in the backdrop of all of these different disputes that are taking place in different states. So I think eventually now it will be for the Supreme Court to decide this matter. Of course, much depends upon the pendency in the Supreme Court and how quickly the Supreme Court wants to actually hear this matter. They obviously still have a pretty pending long list of other important matters as well. So I think eventually all derived jurisdiction is a state from the location of the residents, the addresses. or would it be actually linked to, the fact that the gaming company even located outside the state is offering the issues around it? And enforcement is going to be a real key challenge, which do not do any KYC, which do not actually do, or for that matter, the central government steps in and comes up with a licensing regime. You charge a healthy licensing fee, but not so prohibitive that you make the business unviable. And then you have KYCs, limits on number of hours that a user can play. You can bring environment, which, by the way, all the key large stakeholders are all supportive of.
I've been speaking to so many farmers with this at the federal level and many states trying to enforce that. There's also the double whammy now, for which there's still no clarity. Will there be a 28% GST on the tax plus the entry fee? It's going to leave them with nothing. It sounds very little to say 18% to 28%, but the kind of margins that if the rule goes through, we could in a couple of weeks or months from now see many gaming startups being wiped out, or is it going to have to be a case?
As far as concerned is this whole controversy, which quite frankly, if you were to ask me, is completely avoidable, is the point about even the issue is that the move from the GST Council levied a GST on its own revenue, which is 20 rupees, 100 rupees. Now, the moment 56 rupees is charged as GST, it will render the entire industry completely unviable. But we are hoping sense prevails, because actually, if you look at the GST law, this whole concept of taxing the entire level in the courts. And so if that was to happen, I would suspect that the gaming companies will again have to go to the court and you'll have to fight this battle. And as I mentioned, often by the time these matters are decided, it is the disruption that will happen to the investor sentiment and to the overall industry. Increase the tax as long as the tax is only on the platform fee without any legal basis. And I think that's what we need to look out for in the merit of the matter. And, if the platform is only
a multi-billion-dollar question. So let's see how all of this founders of gaming startups, one more big legal challenge if you were a consumer. Vaibhav, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for being a part of Saraf Central.
Thank you.
Now and start.